Frazier and Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
What up, y'all? Welcome back. It's a brand new episode of this week's Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We are streaming live on our Twitter handle at BarbershopSPOR2, also on the Facebook page and on the YouTube channel, followed by our Instagram account and on Twitch. It's your boy Trey Frazier. That's the homie Maestro Styles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good, homie? What's going on, man?
Man, working hard. Don't worry, I'm good. Beat tape is out on my Instagram on Bandcamp. Click the link and support your boy. And we, working on that, trying to finish up the Satori album, trying to cook up this R&B, this R&B cook up, working on some R&B shit now. So, another day. How you?
No doubt. Yeah, I'm trying to get over something, man. I've been in DC the past couple of days for work, and they just be having the air just keep blowing and blowing, bro. So I'm just trying to fight through something. Hopefully, I could get through this show, in one piece. But pray for the homie, man, because
for sure.
it's just one of them seasons right now. It's getting nice out. It's getting nice out, but. I mean, they had that air just blowing too hard, man. Pause. So,
while you got me thinking about personal stuff, happy birthday to my cousin Gina. Her birthday today, and
happy birthday, Gina.
Praise up for my auntie. She messed with. She shares our episodes every week, but she pray for her health. She's fine. Like she's not nothing, but prayer for her and her health.
Yep. God bless. Prayers up for them, and happy birthday shout outs, belated birthday shout outs to two of our homies, man, Sharif and Melvin.
Yeah, for sure.
Fun stuff on Friday night in DC,
always
man.
Always good to link up, man. Always good to link up.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Glad I'm a part of the group text now.
Yeah, right. It's inside joke right there. But yeah, man, look, it's not really much to kind of get into. I mean, I got a couple quick hitters, and we got a couple of main stories over the week. I'm sure you want to jump off this episode with Aaron Rodgers finally signing the contract to the Pittsburgh Steelers, something that you did not want, something that the majority of Steelers fans did not want. But it's finally here.
You bet it's here.
It's here.
You got 10 million. I thought I read 13.8. 13.8 base salary. Within if he, I think it's like an extra 5 if they want to, based on how far to get in the playoffs, and then another 1.5 if he wins MVP in the regular season.
So it's all them incentives combined with.
The base is 13.8. Is what I read before. I literally read because it's funny because I hadn't seen the number around a lot, so I hadn't seen the number up until literally I went looking for it a couple of seconds ago. So yeah, we got him. All right, so let's work on trying to make this a team that can get out the first round. Look, if I'm going to sit here and act like, I'm gung-ho about it, I'm not. You know how I'm gonna go as we get close to the season. I'm gonna act like
I already tweeted you about it.
Yeah, that's my quarterback.
You about it.
That's my quarterback, man. So a couple of things, a rumor I did read though. There's a rumor going around that the Steelers were very interested in signing Shedeur Sanders, and I guess and allegedly Aaron Rodgers told them that if you sign Shedeur Sanders, I'm not coming to the team.
Now, I heard that going back before the draft.
I've never heard. I never heard that he said if y'all sign Shedeur Sanders, I'm not coming.
Yeah, I heard that way
I
before the
don't
draft. Yeah.
look, and I wasn't high on them drafting Shador Sanders, but
Right.
like if he would have drafted Shador Sanders, I don't know if I like that attitude. Like what? Why you acting like this ain't a Jordan Love situation where you might be drafting your replacement? Like we know you have no intentions. I ain't gonna say no intentions, but
Hmm.
you on the back end of your career, bro. You signed a 1 year deal. Like what you thought?
Yeah, he's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out
Yeah,
in my book.
in my
So
book. Now it's obviously it could obviously be a situation where if he likes a team and he feels the love in Pittsburgh that he might say okay, and he ball, and they say okay, all right, well let's give him another year or give him a 2 year 3 year deal type of situation for for some money. But like I don't know if that's a true rumor, but I didn't really care for that if that be the case. But what I
mhm.
will say about the Aaron Rodgers situation is because I know we've talked about how much money he might ask for, and
Yeah.
it's half of it's half of what I thought he might ask for. So, and it was a rumor going around that he would have played for less. Um,
Mm,
uh, I'm not sure how again I'm not sure how true that is either, but it was a rumor going around that he would have played for less.
mhm.
So one thing I can say I'm happy is that that money is low. So even so some of the inevitable things may happen, like the Alan Lazard thing may happen, even though I don't care for that either. But at least you're leaving space for us to continue to try to build out a roster. Because I think roster wise, the Steelers, if we can keep core pieces healthy, and we'll talk about I mean on the team, and we'll talk about TJ Watt in a second. That if we get a quarterback, a franchise quarterback, or a quarterback that can play, we got an opportunity we got a roster that can play for a Super Bowl. We just don't have a quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm glad that he didn't like try to break the bank for him to come play for a year.
So first, let me give a quick shout out in the IG live chat at Deb's World underscore. That's it. For folks that don't know, that's my wife Debbie in the chat there,
So be
and there's a
nice.
message, there says, "Hi, Daddy, it's Natalie." So we got half of the family in the IG live chat.
That's what's
So
up.
salute to my fam, and for
Yeah.
watching and all that good stuff. Yeah, you said a lot.
Mm.
So I think here's how I'm approach this from the enemy standpoint, and because I love seeing the reaction from Steelers fans about the signing from last week. And I'll say this: the same thing I said when Aaron Rodgers signed with the Jets. And you and we were kind of, I think we were having these same stances with the Jets. Um, Look, running game. I know the offensive line is suspect, but I think if you're Arthur Smith, I think you want to incorporate a little bit more, run game, whether that's 50-50, whether that's 55-45. I think you want to do as much as you can to protect Aaron Rodgers.
Well, first
Um,
let me defend my offensive line. They're young. I won't say sketchy. I'll say they haven't had enough time to. I mean, their starting
mhm.
right tackle was out. Rookie right tackle was out all year.
Yeah.
Roderick Jones was forced to play right tackle. He's in a pivotal year this year, meaning they're gonna have the right to decide if they want to pick up an option. But he is going to go back to left tackle, which is his natural position. So we'll see how that pans out for them. So they're a young offensive line. Frazier is going into his second year. Mason McCormick going into his second year.
Hmm.
Siamalu, the only guy who's been there, not with the Steelers, but just been in the league for a little while. So they're definitely young and got something to prove, and that can be dangerous
For
for an
sure.
Aaron Rodgers. I was listening to a podcast last week, and they was talking about what's a good sack number for Aaron Rodgers. Now, obviously, Aaron Rodgers got one of the faster releases in the game. Like he ain't about to waste a whole bunch of time sitting in the
Yeah.
pocket. He's obviously not going to be as mobile, but we don't count on him sitting in the pocket like Russell Wilson did.
Yeah.
We don't, and even with Justin Fields, but Justin Fields got the ability to get out and make a play running.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So what? So the number was the guys. Let me show you. It's Alex Kozora and it's another guy, but the Terrible Towel podcast. I shout them out because I ain't gonna act like I don't listen to them. Shout out to them. They were saying that 40 sacks is like we can't in order for us to be successful, we can't go over 40 sacks
on the quarterback.
On the quarterback, right. And
that's crazy because you could say that about almost 75-80% of the league. Like,
well, I think the conversation specifically for Aaron Rodgers though is because he's older.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
All that to say is like Arthur Smith wants to run the ball. It's just no way around it.
Yep.
Jalen Warren is probably going to get a lot of the starter snaps, but Caleb Johnson, and I've said it once I was able to see tape on him, he's going to take over that number one spot before the season's over. He's going to be. I won't call him necessarily a bell cow, but he would definitely get bulk of the carries. Or I think the only reason that Jalen Warren will get a lot of the beginning stuff is because he pass protects so well. So we need to make sure Caleb Johnson can pass protect before we kind of give him the reins. Look, I'm not gonna sit here. I guess my overarching thoughts are, look, man, I don't see this doesn't. I'm sorry, like this doesn't change anything for me for this Pittsburgh Steelers. This doesn't make me feel like we're going to the Super Bowl. This doesn't make me feel like I mean, can we win one game with a competent quarterback? Like, but is he competent? Look, he can make the throws. I know he can make the throws.
Yeah.
I just, I'm gonna stand on it, and I hope I'm wrong, but I think he's washed. I don't like. We're not getting last couple of years of Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, and that's going to be good for Arthur Smith because he don't have no intentions on putting him in that situation anyway.
You don't make this move without having the hopes of going to and competing for a Super Bowl championship.
I 100%. But I agree with that statement. I just personally don't believe this was the move to do it. Now, I saw somewhere that this was their third option. Their first option was Matthew Stafford, I think it was.
Yep, I remember that.
Another one was, I think it was Sam.
Was it Cousins?
No, Cousins. Because according to the report I read, it was I'm sorry, it's Matthew Stafford first. I believe it was Sam Darnold second. And then it was Aaron Rodgers. Gotcha. And obviously,
the Kirk Cousins thing was more of a, hey, well, maybe they could do this. Maybe they could trade with the Falcons and that, but with that contract.
I mean, I don't know who lying and who telling the truth. You read a lot of reports, and you know what I'm saying. So I don't know.
Yeah, of course, it's always speculation. It's always that stuff.
Yeah, but from what I read, those appeared to be the three choices in that order. Let's see if we can trade for Stafford. Let's see if we can get Sam Darnold. Let's see if we can get Aaron Rodgers. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. I still feel like we need to go find a number 2 receiver. I've seen rumors. I don't know how real this is, but I've seen rumors of trying to trade for Kyle Pitts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm seeing all kinds of.
You don't need a tight end. You don't need a tight end. You need.
But you could. Can you flank him out as a slot?
Of course you can.
Of course you can. So, like, when I saw that, I thought it was sketchy.
I don't see that as a fit, though. Me personally, I don't see that as a fit.
Well, I tell you what, maybe, but there's also a lot of conversation about them bringing in Jonnu Smith from Miami. And
I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that.
I'm not going to go as far as to say it's not a fit. I think Pittsburgh, and I think more importantly Arthur Smith.
This is more about depth.
No, Arthur Smith likes to run 2 tight end sets. Arthur Smith does like to do that.
Gotcha.
So if we look,
So wait, so it was Fryermuth and who was your number 2 tight
Donnell
end?
Washington,
Okay,
6'7" guy from Georgia. I guess he's going into his third year,
okay,
and good blocker, big dude. He like 6'7", damn
yeah,
near,
yeah.
one of the like. But
Mhm.
I don't know if it's time or he just hadn't panned out the way I think they wanted him to pan out so
Okay. Are
far.
there conversations about him taking like a back seat to the number 3 tight end or something?
Nothing that I've heard yet because we haven't brought anybody yet. But let's be clear: if Jonnu Smith comes in, he's number 3. He's
Mhm.
number 3.
Of
It's
course, of
yeah, there's
course.
no conversation. And his playing time definitely going down because now you're talking about a tight end room with Fryermuth, Jonnu Smith, Donnell
Yeah.
Washington. They just signed Mark Bruner's son. I mean, drafted Mark Bruner's son in the draft. So
Mhm.
while he's not going to be playing, I definitely think he's going to make the team because of family ties and that he's going to play special teams.
Yeah.
So that becomes interesting for Donnell Washington. But that's what under the we'll deal with that when we get there. But I have seen or I saw is news. TJ Watt is skipping mandatory minicamp because he want to get his contract dealt with.
Mhm.
Um,
Big
you
deal or
know,
no deal?
big deal or no? Is it a big deal
Is
to
it a big
me?
deal or is it a not a big deal?
To me, um, I've been battling with this, man, and obviously anybody who watched the show know that I lean on the side that TJ Watt may not retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. And especially after Myles Garrett got his money.
Yeah, right.
So,
Right.
because he's not worth $40 million, but he's been there for 8 going into 9 years.
Mhm.
Um, why
It's
and
just where
why?
the team is at. I think it's
Yeah,
just more about where the team is at
can
from
we?
a whole.
Can I, if I'm Omar Khan, can I justify giving him $40 million after he's played for 8 years and he's not going to be the reason we go to a Super Bowl? I'm not saying he won't be a pivotal part, you know
Mhm.
what I'm saying, but he's been there.
Yeah.
He's been there, and if the goal is Super Bowl, no, can we find a guy? Can we find a guy who makes that much of it, that big of an impact as TJ Watt has over 8 years? Maybe not, but can we get if he's here? Can we get a guy that's like there for
So
a significant less amount of money? And Highsmith is already on the other side, and her biggest development as a pass rusher. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like for me. I want TJ Watt to retire a Steeler, but I mean I could understand if they did something different and got rid of him because it's like, all right, bro, like
Yeah.
we not slacking on pass rush, um, and all you're doing is getting triple teamed anyway.
So best case scenario, I was just thinking about this. Let's fast forward a year from now, because a year from now, I think all signs point to Aaron Rodgers not being the quarterback unless he does something, crazy and maybe he reads up for another year. But
And the way I see it,
let's just assume that he doesn't re-up with
mhm,
the Steelers, and now you're either drafting another quarterback or you're gonna go with Will Howard as the guy moving forward.
right?
There's a cheap that's a cheap contract right there.
Yeah, yeah.
Cam Hayward, he's getting up there. I don't know how much longer,
He's already got his
he's gonna
last
be.
retirement contract, so
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So and if that does happen, and again, you're kind of asking for a miracle here, but Cam Hayward retires this coming off season, that's money off the books there. And so now you've got, and I hate to call it cheap labor, but that's what it is. But you got cheap labor at your quarterback spot. You got somewhat whoever's going to replace Cam Hayward to be on the cheap. You're paying DK the $150 million, so that's one of your big contracts. Your other, I mean, arguably your other big contract on this team moving forward could be TJ Watt, and you could
Well,
still be able to find a way to supplement the other parts of the team moving forward.
Well, here's the thing. He's skipping this year's mandatory minicamp, which says to me he wants his money now.
Sure.
And you know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is
it'll overlap, and then you get to next off season, and then some of that money kind of comes off. You like I said, you'll have a quarterback that's cheap. Cam Hayward, if that happens where he calls it quits, you'll have less money there, and you'll probably have some lesser money in other spots.
He got 2 more years on his contract. Cam Hayward, he got 2 more years on his contract right now. And if you're asking me right now, who would I rather have on my team right now, money wise, and obviously Cam Hayward's money ain't TJ Watt's money, but who would I rather have on my team right now? I would rather have Cam Hayward on my team. And because he's the only thing we have that represents some type of a run defense. Right now, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, we drafted Derek Harmon, and we'll see how that pans out. But right now, our run defense is below garbage. So it's like, for me, Cam Hayward is like the only thing we got going for us right now. Keanu Benton is getting there, but like we need Cam Hayward. We need if we really but truly believe that we are in a Super Bowl window and we got a random quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who just we just need a competent quarterback.
Yep.
And we believe we're in the Super Bowl window, then right now we need Cam Hayward more than we need TJ Watt.
I don't know, man. I hear you on the run defense. I hear you. Cam he still plays good. Obviously
Cam Hayward
prime.
No, I can't honestly. If you look at him on the field, Trey, I can't. He is probably
more than TJ though, because TJ's
right.
In his prime.
I'm talking about what TJ Watt's role is and what Cam Hayward's role is.
Yeah,
Cam Hayward is probably top 3 defensive ends right now.
And I'm thinking about the impact that TJ Watt brings with what he does in his role, and still to be able to be in his prime. Also, I'm considering that.
I don't know if he's 30 years old, Trey. I don't know if we're talking about TJ Watt is in his. If I'm having a candid conversation with you right now, I don't know that TJ Watt is in his prime anymore. He's had injuries. You know what I'm saying? He was very quiet. He's very quiet this second half of the season. Yeah. It's just no other way to slice it. I'm not going to the whole he's washed and all those things. If you're making me make a decision,
I might go with the excuse of just the teams y'all played, that second half of the schedule. I might lean that way more towards.
But if you watch Cam Hayward's play, again, it's just that he can't be in all 3 spots on the defensive line. Yeah. But I mean, Cam Hayward is probably playing some of the better defensive end in the league, right? Based on last year. So it's like, for me, it's just this and $40 million. Can I get a pass rusher that can get me double-digit sacks? But offenses don't feel like they need the double and triple team. Yeah. So now
history says yes. I'll say that. History does say, you can get a Lamar Woodley, a James Harrison.
I would love for TJ Watt to retire a Steeler. Let me be very, 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 very clear. I would love for him to retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. But the money just got to make sense, and you got to be able to build around the team. Like I get it, you deserve your money, but it's like, bro, we got issues on that defensive line. We need depth on that offensive line. It's not about slighting the youngins. It's just, if something happens, if they don't necessarily grasp the concept right away, we got to be able to bring in a vet that can come in and be good to hold up Aaron Rodgers. Because once Aaron Rodgers start getting hit, you can go ahead. I'm sorry, you can go ahead and get him up out of there if he start getting hit.
And NFC North, boy, that NFC North schedule gonna be a rough one this season.
Yeah, so
and I speak for all the teams in the AFC North. Like, it's this one of those schedules for the entire division this year where it's gonna be brutal, and even more so for the Ravens because of the first place schedule. We still got to see Buffalo and KC, Houston, in addition to, Detroit, Chicago got better, Minnesota, and, Green Bay. We'll see what happens there. In Green Bay, speaking of them, they just cut Jair Alexander.
Yeah.
And first thing I tweeted, bro, I said, look, Ravens, y'all know what to do, because y'all been talking about him all off season. Y'all been talking about him for a little bit last season. Go ahead and make the move. I know we're stacked with secondary players right now, but I would love to get that guy.
You confident in your secondary?
Said it again.
You confident in your secondary? I mean,
right now,
you said stacked. The term was stacked. So I mean,
I say stacked in terms of the bodies there, not necessarily the talent.
Got you.
Not necessarily the talent. Yeah,
gotcha.
We could.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say talent wise, I am a little, I feel a little suspect with a couple of guys, but I think Brandon Stevens, from his play last year, I think that's the guy that had me worried, and I'm glad he's no longer on the team. So, So I mean, that should make me feel a lot better. But yeah, no, I could use Alexander in this secondary. The other teams that I saw in play for him were the Eagles. I saw the Cowboys as a top choice. I saw the Dolphins as a choice. A few other NFC teams. I think Detroit was on that list as well. So look, whoever gets him, man, they're going to get a really good player.
Yeah,
out of Jair Alexander. So that's going to be something to watch.
I forget what the segue was. Oh, Nick Chubb to the Texans. He was talking about the Texans and the team y'all got to play. So Nick Chubb went to the Texans for a 1-year deal. Yep. He'll be there with Mixon and
Joe Mixon.
Yep. So the Texans. That's a
if they use him right. If he healthy.
Right. I mean, if he's right. I mean, he got to be right first and foremost. But I did see that and like that. I mean, you know how I was saying at least before the draft, like, hey, we need to be making a call to Nick Chubb. But I kind of backed up off of that since we drafted Caleb Johnson. But that's definitely a good move for the Texans for sure. Mm-hmm. Like you said, if he's healthy and they playing the way they need to play, that should be a good pickup.
They was gonna win the South anyway, in my eyes.
Yeah, but I mean, but you know the conversation with us is like, once you know who the favorites are in a division, okay, now you got to be talking about, okay, how can this team get to a Super Bowl, and how do they do it? You know what I'm saying? And the Texans, much like you said, I mean, we know what's up with them. They should win the division. Mm-hmm. He got his sophomore slump over in CJ Stroud, so he should come back.
No Stephon Diggs this time around.
Yeah, and that's going to be different, man. I don't understand why they got rid of him for real, bro. But
that was an interesting transaction to just let him go, and and then you got Tank Dell, and who knows how healthy he's going to be to start the season.
Exactly. So I thought that was weird, but I mean, maybe they want to run the ball a little more. So
maybe. Well, they got two studs at that position. So
I won't go as far as to say studs because I don't know the health of Nick Chubb. I
think the names by themselves kind of make you think, okay, these guys, they get it in, and they got history on their side. We know Joe Mixon, steady running back with the Bengals all those years. Nick Chubb, we called him a unicorn, one of the top 5 running backs at one point.
Mm-hmm.
So
at one point,
he's just got to get back to that point. And even if it's for 1 year, maybe the Texans luck out and maybe get that, one, last final good year out of him.
Yeah, hopefully for Nick Chubb, man. Also in this, in the realm of injury riddled running backs, I saw J.K. Dobbins got a 1-year deal with the Broncos. So,
I like that for him.
I like that he's still working. Yeah, he wasn't bad with the Chargers. So give him an opportunity. Give him an opportunity.
What he led the league in rushing for 2 weeks.
I thought it was more like 3-4 weeks.
Something like that. Something like that. Well, it was until they played y'all in week 3 or week 4, something like that. But yeah, that's good for him. I'm happy for him.
That Cash App never pinged.
It never pinged.
It never
Okay.
pinged.
Okay. All right. All right. All
Oh,
right. Maybe in a couple weeks, man. I might do something better than a Cash App ping in a couple weeks. You might get some real cash in your hand.
So we Terry McLaurin won a deal, man, and he should get it.
He deserves one.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Commanders, and obviously the Commanders seem to be doing everything right. Since what's his name left the team, Snyder left the team.
Yeah.
But he wants a deal, man, and I don't know what's going on. And once somebody says they're frustrated and want a deal, all the trade rumors pop up, and ooh, he could be going here, and what would he look like if he played there, and et cetera, et cetera. I don't tend to think that the Commanders are going to let this guy get out of here. Hopefully they take care of his money real soon, before this has to become a story, or before you have to have a disgruntled wide receiver in Jaden Daniels' second year.
Interesting. Yeah. Shout out to the Commanders. Shout out to Terry McLaurin. He deserves his money. I mean, look, Jaden Daniels, JD5. I mean, that's the guy. He was the guy for them last year. On their way to the NFC title game. But you're not about to tell me that Terry McLaurin doesn't make up any kind of important significance to how that team transformed as the season went on. All I could think about was the Cowboys game that was here at the Commander Stadium, the little back and forth in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Where he caught that was it a wheel route? I don't remember what the route was, but he just kind of caught it and just kind of sprinted for the end zone there. You got to get this guy his money, man.
And hurry up
he's
about
one of the
it.
best. Yeah, he's one of the best to do it. Like, there's a lot of great things. Every offseason, there was always something to say, bad about the Commanders. Like, now we don't feel that way anymore because of ownership, because of Jaden Daniels, his presence, the front office, Magic Johnson's presence, and that kind of a thing. Like, this thing you just don't want to linger going into the offseason. Take care of your boy. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Take care of your boy.
Hey man, did you happen to I'm gonna try to find these comments, man.
Okay. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't know. I don't know if we was on the same page. I just happened to be looking in our email, and it lets us know when people comment on our YouTube videos.
Oh, okay.
And we have gotten some interesting, I guess I won't call it backlash, but interesting comments in regards to the Angel Reese conversation.
Okay.
And I mean,
okay.
One person says she's terrible. Talking about Angel Reese. I'm trying to find them fast because
the way the email is set up on your phone.
What are these people watching? Somebody just left a laughing emoji. One person said bread. Okay, I don't know if this person is Jamaican or not.
I got one here. I got one here for you. So this is what I think you were kind of paraphrasing here. He says the delusion, laugh out loud. Let's face it, she's terrible. I'm sorry, most female WNBA players are better. She needs serious coaching. Okay, that final part of the comment I do agree with. When you watch her and when you watch the team this year, I agree with that part. But don't say she's terrible, because I can't call a player in their second year who broke a rebounding record,
averaging a double-double.
Yeah, who broke a rebounding record as a rookie last year. Terrible. I just can't vibe with that.
Well, I got reminded of it because I was scrolling through Instagram today and I saw that Andrew Reese won BET Sports Player of the Year, and a lot of people were upset.
Going.
Yeah, and a lot of people were upset about her
including Clarissa Shields.
Oh, okay. I
Can
did
I
not
can I
know
can I
that.
can I read this tweet?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so this is from one of the best right now in the game, Clarissa Shields.
No, the best.
Still,
The
huh?
best. Women's
The
boxing,
best.
the
Okay,
best.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the best.
Still don't know how I didn't win the Sportswoman of the Year for the BET Awards, but congrats to Angel Reese and all of the other nominees. I just thought accolades mattered. So that was her tweet. I'm getting a lot of, retweets from some of the good folks I follow. Um, Ashley Nicole Moss, shout out to you. This is really disappointing coming off an event that uplifts Black people and their accomplishments. To see such an accomplished athlete not take the opportunity to uplift one of her own. Okay, I could vibe with that. I don't think what she tweeted was that egregious, and I don't think it was that egregious. Maybe it was something that she could have maybe kept to herself, but I didn't think it
Yeah,
was outrageous.
but she ain't never been that type. So I mean, the actors ask her to do something that she normally don't do. I mean, let's be
Yeah,
clear, she's in a whole
I was gonna
situation
say
with the
she
whole
told she told Remy Ma, yo, like when
I
the
mean,
kids come
yeah,
around, you're gonna be at the cookout. Like that's
she
what
ain't
she
got
told her.
no
So
she. No, I'm just saying the chick ain't never been the type to hold her tongue. Like, so to expect
yeah,
her
yeah,
to
yeah,
hold
yeah,
her tongue
yeah,
in this situation, well, I don't, whatever. Look, I guess I was seeing a lot of comments about, how she didn't deserve it too. Now I didn't see the Clarissa Shields one. I just saw it from like random commenters,
yeah,
and I was on the train thinking to myself like, why y'all so hung up about a BET Sports Award?
yeah,
Like, is
yeah,
there like some type of sports division that BET running that I don't know about? Like, maybe I could understand this vitriol or this hate coming from like the ESPYS if she won over Clarissa Shields at the ESPYS and you feel like she ain't deserve it at the ESPYS. Like, for me, if the BET Awards, they don't do sports. Like, it's and Angel Reese is building a brand that's
yep,
going to be bigger than sports.
yep,
I can't see how who else they would pick. I mean, the podcast is doing what it's doing. She had every little fashion show and red carpet and et
yeah.
cetera, dressed to the nines, like doing her thing. Like, I can't understand why people would be so up in arms about a sports category at a BET Awards that legitimately does more so music stuff than anything.
Yeah, I think it's more so, and I'm glad we're kind of talking about this because I actually wanted to, it jumped my mind earlier in the show. I wanted to kind of start off with not the Angel Reese stuff, but more the BET award stuff. But I think it's kind of what um, Ashley said in the tweet. Like it's an award show that uplifts Black folks more than any other award show.
Yeah.
When you think about Oscars, Tonys, even the ESPYS, like
Yeah.
that's not, Black people don't really take towards the ESPYS like that more than they do, the BET Awards, or I'll give another example, Soul Train Awards. Now that's they don't care about sports, period. But BET does partake a little bit. They do
Yeah.
recognize, I mean, let's not forget they created Mad Sports, 20 some years ago. They're about to come out with 106 in sports that they just announced last night. So
Okay. Yeah. Right. Right. I did forget about 106 in sports. They announced. I didn't watch the BT Awards, but I did see they announced that.
you're right, right.
So
So now, yeah. So I think that's why there's um a lot of criticism because this is one of the award shows that uplifts us as a people, and we don't have to rely on other races to uplift us. So that's where I think it comes from. Shout out to Kelsey Nicole Nelson, was on with us last week. She tweeted about it. She says, I hate to see such an accomplished woman athlete in a class of her own, Clarissa Shields, down a young athlete. Angel Reese is one of the most popular and fastest growing brands, like you talked about with the brands. She was thrust into the international spotlight by us all in college. Awards aren't just about accolades. That part I do agree with. It's not about the accolades. It's not just about the
But
accolades.
it's not just.
It's
I agree, but here's where I push back a little bit.
yep.
What I mean, I guess we won't know because we. I mean, I guess we could research it if it really came to it, but I won't, and you won't. What is the criteria for Sports Person of the Year? Because I
Yeah,
mean, I would think accolades. I would think accolades has something to do with it,
absolutely.
and with all due respect to Angel Reese, last I checked, she ain't really accomplished a whole lot as far as accolades. I'm just talking about accolades.
Hmm.
I get the in college she got the chip. She got the chip. Was that I guess that's 2 years ago.
About 2 years
Or
ago now.
three.
Yeah. Well, a
Yeah.
year and a half ago. Year and a half ago. Yep.
A year and a half, sure.
Yep.
And so that's a thing. But outside of that, everything else she has achieved is not necessarily an accolade, but more so her building her brand.
Yep.
She's definitely one of the more popular women in women's basketball. I don't care to rank her right this second, but you know what I'm saying, she's
Hmm.
top three. That's comfortable to I'm comfortable in saying she's top three as far as popularity.
Right. When you're talking black female athletes in the
Yeah.
W, yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and hell, and I go a step further. We talking about black women in sports.
Yeah.
She's hot. She's top three.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's an accomplishment. And if I had to make and I don't know who the nominees were. If
I
I'm
don't know
looking
who
at
the nominees also. I don't know who they were.
I can assure you that if I look at them nominees, I think we could all agree, and
In a
Andrew Reese is
landslide,
gonna
though.
get it.
In a
I
landslide.
don't. Well, define landslide because all they say is the winner is Angel Reese. So what's the
Right.
landslide?
But that's what I'm saying. Like I'm just thinking about and congrats to Coco Golf. She just won her
Shout out to Coco
tournament.
Golf.
Shout out to her. But I mean,
But
you
she
can
would
make a
fit
case for
under.
her.
But she would fit under the Clarissa Shields argument, meaning she's achieved more. So she may be a more successful person at her sport than Angel Reese. Coco Golf would be. Clarissa Shields would be.
Right.
But with all due respect,
Mhm.
they ain't popping.
Mhm.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
So Angel Reese's her branding, the podcast, those things balance out. Those things bring her up to the level of the females that are the best at their individual sport. Because I could throw Asia Wilson. I could throw Asia Wilson in that bag also too. With the sneakers, with her being the best in the game right now, and I don't care what nobody says. Asia Wilson is the best player.
You can her in what conversation though?
For her to be the best player in the WNBA right now.
Well, she is the best player in the WNBA now.
You could certainly make a case that if she was on this nominees list, that Asia would get a lot of votes.
Sure,
I think it would. I think it would be close. I think Angel beats her out, but I don't think Angel dusts her.
Well, again, you try. I'm only talking about who won and who didn't win. I don't know about votes. I don't know who voted. I don't know what the voting system is.
No, I got you, but I don't want to make it so easy. Like, oh, it's a slam dunk. It's Angel Reese. Like,
I
don't think it's a slam dunk.
Though.
Huh?
I think it's a slam dunk. I think it's a slam dunk because she is
because of the criteria.
No, because I don't know what the criteria is. I think it's a slam dunk because when I think about BET, not only is she doing her thing in her job, the sports side, but she's also a face. Like she's a face. Like I can't honestly tell you I know what Asia Wilson looked like. I can't honestly tell you I know what Coco Golf looked like. I can't Clarissa Shields because I've watched Clarissa Shields box more. Right. But as somebody who doesn't watch a whole bunch of tennis and a whole bunch of WNBA, I know
Simone Biles. Respect to Simone Biles. I want to throw her in this conversation.
Sure, she would be in the conversation, but she don't talk a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're talking about an award, Angel Reese has done all the things, like all the necessary things that if I want to win an award, I put myself out there at every single capacity. Like you talk about her in basketball, you talk about her in podcasting. Anytime you pull up a Twitter, is a picture of her in a bikini or something, or her wearing something, or her doing a walkthrough, or you know what I'm saying? Like she's doing all the things and in front of all the cameras that she can be in. And so for me, when we talk about a BET Sports Award,
Yeah.
I 100% can understand, and I don't. And again, that's without me knowing the criteria, but just how I view what BT is. Yeah, 100%. Angel Reese should have won that award.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I think she wins by a landslide. I think because of the criteria, and I know you say you don't know what the criteria is, but as we're just talking here, and as we're just kind of breaking down, well, Simone Biles, yeah, she's in the conversation, but she's not out there like that. She doesn't speak like that, even though we, as sports fans, we know who Simone Biles is. We know who she looks like. We know because her husband plays in the NFL. Like, we see her at these games, so we kind of know who she is. But I
And
think
with all
it's
due respect to Jonathan Owens,
yep,
let me be clear, with all due respect to Jonathan Owens,
yep,
Jonathan, I don't, like she don't get much points for being married to Jonathan Owens. I don't know who, like most players, most people don't know who Jonathan Owens is. You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
But this ain't
You know what I'm
about
saying?
Jonathan Owens. Sure,
Well,
sure,
no. I'm saying you're saying when you talked about what Simone Biles, I guess, bullet points would be as to why she would be deserving of the award. I wouldn't even put
right.
Jonathan Owens in that conversation because as a
Well,
bullet
no,
point because it's like
right. We're saying the same thing.
okay,
I'm saying she's out there more. We see her face more because she's married to an NFL player. A lot of us watch the NFL weekly, so we see Simone Biles a lot more than we would see a Clarissa Shields
okay,
or
because
a
she's at the
Naomi
games.
Osaka or a Coco Golf. That's what I'm trying to say.
You
Like,
saying because she's at the games though?
she's at the games, and whenever they pan to her, there's always a conversation.
That
Yeah,
got you.
so she gets that exposure because her husband plays there. It's got nothing to do with him. Like, I agree with you. Like, him being married to her doesn't, like, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't matter. But in the case of her getting exposure to the public, it kind of does, and it kind of makes the case for her to be in that Angel Reese conversation, right? So, but to my point, yeah, Angel wins in a landslide, I think, because of the alleged criteria, which is her face is out there more. She's got the podcast. She's doing the branding thing. I think it's all those things. The Met Gala, like, she's doing all these events outside of her sport. I think those
Yeah.
are the things that I think the BET people look at and they say, okay, yeah, this is the person that is deserving of the Sportsman of the Year award.
Yeah, and it goes back to the conversation we had last week. I mean, look, Angel Reese, if she didn't want to play basketball, Angel Reese is a model. Like, you know
Should
what I'm
be
saying?
good.
Like,
Yeah. She's
yeah,
straight
like
for
she's a
life. Yeah.
yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's legit a model. She dressed, she do all the
Yep.
things. You know what
Hmm.
I'm like she's legit a model. Like she can go out and be on runways if she didn't want to play basketball. So it's like,
Yep.
it's that whole thing and that whole polarizing thing about her. Like she like I saw somewhere, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I meant to bring it up last week. Um I heard, let me be clear, this is a rumor. I don't know if Andrew Reese said this or not. I heard that she said somewhere
Hmm.
that prime Brittany Griner would beat prime Allen Iverson in a one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah,
I won't
I'm not
even.
here to entertain that. Yeah, I'm not
I
here to
won't even
entertain it.
entertain that. I'm not.
I'm just
I'm not.
saying those whether she said it or not,
Hmm.
the fact that it would gain traction because she allegedly said something like that speaks to who she is as
Okay.
as a media person, as a content creator, as a
Hmm.
pop a celebrity. That's the best word. As a celebrity, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
As far as
Like
the
no,
traction thing, I missed that one because I didn't even
I
know
definitely saw. I definitely saw. I was actually
that
talking to
gained
Phil about it the
traction.
other day. Look.
Okay.
I'm not saying. I'm saying I saw it. I don't know how much traction it
Okay.
gained. I'm saying I
Okay.
saw it.
Got you. Got you. Got
And
you.
and I almost brought
Okay.
it up last week, but I was like, man, no need
Okay.
to, no,
Okay.
no need to
Because
stretch it.
okay, I was gonna say because if anything, I think the conversation on one of her episodes that gained traction was when Shaq was on there and he was talking about how the women's game could be better if they lower the rims and all that, and that controversy. Now that got some traction. from one of her podcast episodes, but that other thing with Griner and AI, I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah,
And
no need to have the conversation.
I'm leaving that one alone. But
Let's
I was gonna
let's talk
ask
about
you
this. Go ahead.
quickly. I was gonna ask you, you might have answered this as we were talking about the awards. So you watched not 1 minute of the awards last night.
Nope.
Okay.
No
And
real
what
reason. I was just I was
I
busy. I
got
was
you.
busy. When I got in the house, I fell asleep. No real reason.
Okay. No, I got you. I got you. There was nothing. It was really nothing on TV last night. Honestly, I, if I had to give my quick thoughts, maybe not just on what happened last night, but just in general, because I feel like I've grown out of watching the BET Awards. It was a thing that was popping, when we was, 18, 19, 20 years old. But each year, I don't care to look forward to it unless I know that somebody's going to be on there that that I truly like. So I might just save some time for those segments. But I will say the tribute to 106 in Park to start the show was dope. I love that they went back to the early 2000s and they bought out Bow Wow. They somehow got B2K back together on the same stage. Ashanti, Keisha Cole, Ti, just to name a few of those artists that had their videos on that show for the most part. And to have the former host come out there and kind of pay some homage to a classic on that network. I thought that was pretty dope. And I'm just gonna say this, man. Jamie Foxx is the greatest entertainer alive. Period.
I mean, I ain't.
He's the best, bro. He got his flowers last night. They did something different. There's usually the humanitarian award, then they got the what's it, the lifetime achievement award, something like that. But they changed it this time, so they gave 4 people their flowers last night. So it was Kirk Franklin, Jamie Foxx, Mariah Carey, and I'm missing Snoop Dogg. They gave Snoop Dogg his flowers too. But the Jamie Foxx, the speech he gave, and everybody knows what he went through as far as health goes the past couple of years. But yeah, he's the best, bro. Like entertainment wise, for music, acting, television, comedy, you name it, movies. He's the best to me in my book. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. Well, I do have intentions on watching the BET Awards. As you know, the repeat will be playing several times on BET
as
for the
as
next
usual,
month.
as
Yeah,
usual.
so I do have intentions on watching it. I
Edited
will
version.
at some point. Yeah, I will at some point watch it. But I mean, all the clips I've seen have been good. So I mean, I'm not a person who's
Yeah, good
against
stuff
watching.
last night. Yeah.
No, we differ in the idea of I'm too old to watch award shows. I just don't watch a lot of TV in general to even be like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? So to
Right,
be honest
right.
with you, I forgot it was on. Like I said, I was out busy, came in the house, went to sleep, and woke up to a whole bunch of clips of Casanat and Wale feeling like he got curved by Casanat, and I guess he was streaming the old time, the Kevin Hart jokes, and Kendrick actually showed up to a BET Awards, which is a big thing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah. The Mariah
I will
thing
watch it.
too. The Mariah thing. That was her first BET award, which when you really think about it, it's not surprising.
Yeah, but black people need to show for black people shit more often, and I'll leave it there.
No, sure, but I feel like I know where that comes from, but I'm glad that she finally got her flowers on that platform for sure.
Deserve it so, but black people need to show for black people shit.
Yeah,
Let's talk
absolutely.
about the finals, man. You have switched your pick
Yep.
since game one after seeing Halliburton hit the game I guess the walk off. And you switched your pick. We spoke Friday. You were officially on the Pacers in 7.
And let's be clear, I don't want to be like. Let's be clear, I hate the Pacers. Like I don't want to
Well,
be.
yeah. So
I don't want to be rooting for this. But look, man, look. It's just
Are
something
you rooting
about.
for it? Are you
I'm not.
rooting for it?
I'm not rooting for it. I'm just.
You're
This
just
is just
picking.
a.
You're just picking a series.
This is just a pick for series. I do want the Thunder to win the championship. And look, this is a series. Like, if anybody thought this was going to be a demolition of one team on one side, I don't think so. I think when the Pacers play this team close, it's advantage Pacers because the Thunder, even if you look on their side, they haven't been great in those like close game, situations. Like you go back to the Denver series where Denver stole game 1 in that semi round. They don't know how to handle those close game situations all that great. It's as if the Thunder have to blow the team out to really get the win.
Yeah,
So
but here's the thing though, Trey, and
yep,
you switched your pick. That's cool. And I'm stick
yep,
with my pick, Thunder in 7, but I'm honestly ready to pick the Pacers. I mean, the Thunder in 6. I'm not going to do that. I'm just telling you how I feel based
mhm,
on game 2.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is that if everybody does just what they need to do on the Thunder, just what they
mhm,
need to do.
mhm.
Jalen Williams gives you his, let's say 19, 20. Chet gives you
Which is not
his,
every night,
which is
which
not every night.
consistently hasn't been every night.
But if he inconsistently gives you that, like let's say
Yep.
he gives you to you out of 7 games, he gives it to you 3 times.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of in there. That's kind of in their wheelhouse. That's kind of in their wheelhouse. If Chet gives you these 15 to 20,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
and then
He had
and
a
then
better
that
game
that
too than game 1.
yeah, right. And then Caruso when
Yeah. Caruso go crazy. Aaron Wiggins go
Caruso,
crazy.
Aaron Wiggins is the guy I was thinking about. So then he,
Hmm.
and I'm not expecting Caruso and Wiggins to go crazy. I'm just saying that if Jalen decides to take a night off, Aaron Wiggins could have that game, or Case and Wallace could have that game. You know what I'm saying? It's for me. It's still, and when it all really, really boils down to it, it's for me. They can't do. Siakam can't match SGA like offensive output. He can't match him. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So
Right.
if you're saying this Siakam, and that's the wing player thing, that's not even their best player. So if you look at Tyrese Halliburton as your best player, we know he ain't gonna match him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So for me, it's still just that I don't intend on these games getting close more than 4 times for the Pacers.
Mm.
So I'm not saying that they're gonna blow them out by 20, but will it be a strong 12 to 15 point lead?
Oh,
And
sure. Yeah.
I count on that. I do count on that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I count on, for me, it's just, and look, Halliburton, I think through 2 games overall, he's underperformed to
Yeah,
what
because
to what we know what he can do. And it's because of what they're doing. It's because of what the Thunder's doing to him
yeah,
on the
and
defensive
because
side.
and it goes down to what I said last week because they're putting pressure on him, but he still has 2 jobs. They want him to be a primary or secondary scorer, and then
Hmm.
still be able to facilitate.
Yeah.
So it's tough with that type of pressure when you got to deal with Dort, when you got to deal with Caruso, when you got to deal with Wallace. Like all these guys play strap up defense.
Yeah.
So anytime you bring the ball down, you got to deal with that. Like I watched times in the third or fourth quarter when for the Thunder when SGA was like, all right, no, I'm going to bring the ball up,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying, and it's not because he's the ball handler, it's because I want to get buckets now, and none of y'all can stop me from getting buckets now. So it's like there's still that thing
Yeah.
that OKC has that the Pacers don't necessarily have yet. Like I get and shout out to Siakam who has had games, but it's what I'm saying when it's like, all right, no, my turn. Nobody else gets the. I ain't gonna say nobody else gets the ball, but I'm taking over. Like SGA knows how to do that, and
Yeah.
Siakam can do that. He's capable of it, but that ain't his bag, and I don't believe that's his bag. That's SGA's bag.
Yeah, sure. You're gonna get a Siakam. I don't want to call it a Siakam classic, but I think you're gonna get one of those games from him. You're gonna get a 30 plus point
Yeah,
game from Siakam. I think you're gonna get one of that in maybe game
because you
three or
have
game
to
four.
have it. Because you have
Yeah,
to have it.
right. I think you're gonna get one of that in these next two games, which will be in Indiana. So they'll have home court for for those two games there. I also think when you talk about both benches, look right now, Indiana's bench is slightly playing a little bit better just in terms
Hmm.
of point output.
Yeah,
But defense wise, you got Caruso coming off the bench, and he's giving it to you on an offensive side, in addition to what he's known for on defense too. That's a problem as well. I'm just they had game 1-1. You know what I'm saying? Like the Thunder I'm talking about.
yeah.
They had that game won. They gave it away, and it's similar to the Knicks in game one of the conference finals. They had the game won and they gave it away. Now, instead of winning 4 games, you got to try and win 5 games. Now, look, if there's a team that could do it, it's the Thunder. I will grant them that. If there's a team that can do that, it's them. They won 60 plus 68 games in the regular
Hmm.
season. They could do that. Um, but that means to me, you you got to work this Pacers team for four more rounds, pretty much. Like I don't know that it's going to be that easy for them to do that.
Pause. By the way.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know if they're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm sticking with the change in my pick. I'm gonna stick with that. And look, we'll,
All
we'll
off
see
a
what
game one
happens.
buzzer beater. All off a game one buzzer beater though.
It's just something about divine intervention, bro. I don't know what it is with this team because they've had this in every
They've had
series
some
in these
buzzer
playoffs.
beaters.
We were on the podcast. I forget who we was on with. I think it might have been P Shark, and the Milwaukee Indy game was on. It was game 5, and Milwaukee was up by 7 with like under a minute left, and I was like, if you remember, I was like, oh, look like Milwaukee about to extend the series
Yeah,
to a game
yeah,
6. Man, I get off the show and I was doing some research on something, and then the score popped up on the TV and said the Pacers won, and I was like, wait a minute, this was a 7-point game with like seconds left. Like, what the
yeah,
hell happened? And then we found out the Gary Trent Jr. Episode happened
yeah,
there, and
yeah.
then obviously what they did to the Cavs in game 2, the Knicks in game 1, and then now the Thunder in game 1 of this series. Um, it, I don't know, bro. It just feels like when you get those kinds of bounces going your way along a playoff run like this, it just might be their year. It might be. It might be. It's up to
Yeah,
the Thunder. It's up to the Thunder to change that.
yeah, I think the Thunder get it, bro. I hear you though. I mean, and Tyrese Halliburton will be remembered for those game beat buzzer
Yep.
beaters and the redoing the Reggie Miller and like he had a playoffs, but if we're comparing runs, like SGA is also on a run. Let's not forget.
Sure.
SGA is also on a run, so it may not consist of quote unquote highlights. I'm a big highlight dude, but he is very consistent. He is scoring the ball just fine, like he hasn't missed a step from the regular season. So
Yep.
it's like, and they're playing top tier defense, and he got that team on his back. And I don't think that there's nobody. I don't know that there's anybody on the Pacers team that can really guard SGA when it comes down to it. When it comes
No,
down to
they
it,
can't. Nope, they can't.
yeah.
They can't.
But there's plenty of people that can guard Siakam. But there's
Yeah.
plenty of people that can guard Siakam
Sure.
and Halliburton. Halliburton didn't have a good game 2. He didn't even
Sure.
want to shoot jump. He didn't even want to shoot the ball game 2.
Right. No, sure. And look, I think game 3, game 4, I think this series is split 2-2 going back to OKC for game 5.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
I mean,
you got him in 7. You got him in
I
7.
got him in 7, so
So
it could be it could be 2-2, and but I don't want to lie to you. I'm gonna stick with 7 because that was my pick, but my heart is telling me Thunder in 6 now after
mhm.
watching game 2.
I could understand that. I mean, I think if you watch those first 2 games combined, I think you would say advantage Thunder just because the way they've been kind of, getting after it on the defensive end consistently. Like
Yeah,
it's smart to give the Thunder the edge here based on what you see on film, but we know this Pacer team is just not going to go quietly. Um,
we
so
agree there. They're not gonna go quietly.
yeah, so we'll see, man. We'll definitely see, man. Um, I just got one last thing, man. Because I gave this some thought over the past couple of days about this with the Knicks and their head coaching search. Um, Look, there's been a lot of talk about Jason Kidd and his situation with the Dallas Mavericks. Um, I'll discuss it from the Dallas side, and then I'll kind of go into if it makes sense for the Knicks or not. Um, Jason Kidd has had to deal with quite a bit over the past several months. Trade away your best player. You get Anthony Davis, in return. He doesn't play for how many games that is. Kyrie Irving injures himself. He's out for the rest of the year. The new ownership has a different way of looking at certain things differently from how Mark Cuban looked at them. I think that's pretty clear. And it doesn't seem like the Dallas Mavericks are turning away an opportunity for the Knicks to talk to Jason Kidd. Um, we saw the Houston Rockets say, "Hey, look, we're keeping Ime Udoka. Like Ime Udoka's not going anywhere."
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see that from the Dallas Mavericks just yet. You know what I'm saying? So there appears to be some steam with this being a possibility. Now, if you ask me, at first, um, I kind of didn't want Jason Kidd because of for a couple reasons. And I think he's a good coach, but I think just for a couple of reasons. Um, just kind of the back and forth he had with the Nets, the way he got out of Brooklyn to go to Milwaukee, and then kind of the way he kind of got out of Milwaukee to be on the Lakers, coaching staff. It just seems like he was always looking for that next job, no matter where he was. And then, two, just the idea of not giving a coach that's a free agent that's out on the market an opportunity, but rather go to somebody else's team to try to poach their coach. You know what I'm saying? Like I just
Mm-hmm.
don't like the idea of that, because like if you a team that you're trying to do big things, like if there's some coaches on the market, that you don't have to go through the whole, hey, I got to talk to ownership just to get to this guy. I got to do this. I got to, like, you don't have to go through all that. You could just contact, like, for example, Frank Vogel. He's out there. All you got to do is just reach out to his people
You
and,
want Frank Vogel
you'll get
though?
that interview. Huh?
You want Frank Vogel?
I was just using Frank Vogel as an example
Okay.
because
I
he's
was just
he's
being
he's
clear.
not on the coaching staff. I'm just
Gotcha.
saying just the idea that you a big team and you're trying to do big things, but yet you trying to, and look, I don't know how true the stories are, particularly with the Rockets. And I heard the other rumor was them talking to the Wolves for Chris Finch. I don't know how much truth there was in that, but like why
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
why are y'all doing this? Like like why are y'all going to other teams to try to get their coach? Like that's the part that really kind
I
of
don't think
like
I'll be
irks me a
honest
bit.
with you. The only rumor that I saw that made a little bit of sense was Dallas. Everything else didn't really make sense. It didn't seem like it was real.
Yeah.
It's much like we was when we was talking about Pittsburgh Steelers and or really anybody. Like once you think somebody might be available, then all
Yeah.
the rumors come out, and anybody literally you could, as Trey Frazier, the Barshot Sports Talk podcast, if you drafted a tweet that looked sincere enough with a graphic on it saying. The Knicks head coach might be signing Jesus Christ, their Knicks head coach. There are people that might bite on that and be on their show saying, all you need is Shefty to say it or Shams to say it or
Yeah.
or somebody in that, or somebody those people trying to be the next Shefty or the
Yeah.
next Shams. Those dudes,
Sure.
those fake,
Sure.
and then it's, it's
NBA Centel.
yeah, you know what
Like,
I'm saying? Like, like we got plenty. Like, I definitely have been tricked by Centel before. So, you know what I'm saying? Just missing the R and shit. So I've definitely,
mm,
what I'm saying? I've definitely been tricked. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Mavericks, I can kind of believe. Also saw somewhere that, and again, rumor. I don't know if it's NBA Centel or not.
yeah.
That Kyrie Irving ain't 100% locked in that he want to be with Dallas next year.
Okay.
And you know what I'm saying?
I didn't see
And
that.
and if that's the, again, I don't know, cock sources, maybe not. I don't know.
Yep.
But if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that because I believe that they had a decent little relationship with him and Luca, so he gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie allegedly don't want to be there. If that's the case, it's like, damn, all my good players leaving me. I can understand Jason Kidd not wanting to be there no more.
Yeah, and that's where I was trying to get to. Like from the Dallas side of things, I can understand Jason Kidd looking at the situation and saying. And the other thing I wanted to mention also was that when Nico and Palinka were having their side discussion about what compensation for Luca would be, was the rumor was that they kept Jason Kidd kind of out of the loop of that. Like they didn't really like
Yeah.
let him know that this was happening. I don't know how true that is or not,
So it's
but
also possible that the owners don't even fuck with Jason Kidd.
yeah, that's possible
That's
too. That
that's
but
possible. I
but
mean,
but from Jason Kidd's point of view, he can look at the situation and say, "Yo, like we was just in the finals, my nigga. Like we was just there." You know what I'm saying? And now you got rid of the franchise player. You bring in a dude that always hurt. My star point guard is hurt. I don't know when he's coming back. I got these new owners, talking crazy like they think they know basketball. And this long term, he might be thinking long term, hey, this might be my way out.
yeah.
Like this might be my way out in terms of, hey, if the Knicks want me, then hey, I'm willing to talk because I know what's going on in the Eastern Conference, and next year that Eastern Conference is going to look, pretty. I don't want to say pretty easy, but you're going to have your Cleveland's in the mix. You're going to have your Pacers in the mix. You're going to have the Knicks in the mix, right? So and depending on what else they do, roster wise, which I'm not ready to really talk about yet. But if if Jason Kidd thinks that this is his way out, then it all makes sense. With that being said, um, he was there when Brunson had his moment in that when you remember when Luca got hurt that one
Mm-hmm.
series against I think it was Mitchell in the Jazz, and Brunson went off for 44 in that
Yep.
in that game one. Jason Kidd has some experience with a Jalen Brunson, so there's a connection there. Jason Kidd from a player standpoint was one of the best, pure point guards, that the game has seen. He can coach that position. He sees the game offensively in a modern day viewpoint. Um, I am open to the idea of having Jason Kidd as the head coach of this team. The more I think about it, the more I think about how he possibly may feel about the Dallas situation and the fact that Dallas hasn't turned down the Knicks' alleged offer yet. I'm I'm in. I'm in.
Okay. Have you heard anything about a conversation about them getting Rick Brunson away from his son?
So I've heard um players. This is, shout out to my Knicks content creators, but there have been some players that have mentioned that they didn't really vibe with Rick Brunson, doing certain things. It kind of reminds me, and you brought this up on the podcast when the season started. When they played the Wolves in the preseason, and DiVincenzo was at the foul line, and they was chirping, back and forth, Rick Brunson and DiVincenzo. And you remember the quote DiVincenzo said, "Hey, that's why they, what was it? This why they let you run things or something like that, something to that
Yeah, something.
effect,
Yeah, right.
something,
Something
something,
like that. Mm-hmm.
something to that effect." So
I don't remember the exact quote, but but it's starting to. I was thinking
starting to
about it.
put the pieces together, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah. So maybe there was something to that. Now that some of this has kind of come out. So yeah, I've heard some things in regard to Rick Brunson. I've also heard some players say that they didn't appreciate not getting minutes off the bench, and I think one of those players was Precious.
Mm-hmm.
And he might be up out of here, and if he goes, I'm fine with that. Hey man, I'll say this because one of my guys, shout out Dexter Henry, we had him on.
Mm-hmm.
He said something about the roommates podcast. That's Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson's podcast they do
Mm-hmm.
weekly. Well, since the
Mm-hmm.
season ended, they haven't done the podcast, and I think everybody that understands, reading the room understands why they haven't done an episode. And I don't expect them to do an episode until they figure out who's going to be the coach of this team. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. For sure. I mean, hey, uh, y'all need to find a coach, man. Like I said, I stand on last week's conversation, bro. I don't think this is gonna be good for y'all.
well, I stand where I stand. Also, it's interesting. My cousin
What?
Wallace.
What? Where? Hold on. Just for clarity, where do you stand?
It was a bad firing because of the money that they gave him, because of the extension that they gave him last offseason, because he was going into the final year of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember the conversation I had, I was saying, well, Knicks fans aren't going to like this, but they're going to give Tibbs an extension because you're not going to let the coach go into a year where he's got 1 year left on the deal. And it's sort of what is it, the lame duck situation. Like, usually when that's your guy, you're gonna, make sure you get him on the back end, right? So 1 year left on the deal. I think everybody and their mama knew, hey, he's gonna get an extension. So they gave him the extension, and we thought, okay, we'll have Tibbs at least another 2 seasons. Like, I think everybody thought that. His firing was a surprise. And quite frankly, it should have been a surprise to everybody, whether you're a Knicks fan or not. His firing was a surprise. Um, it was a bad firing because of the money, but I think it's a good firing because they see that this team can be maximized a lot better than what it's been maximized at. And I won't. I hate to do this, but I will bring up the Cleveland situation from last year. And you talked about progress, where hey, having progress is a big deal, and we get that regarding how you finish the season. The Knicks progressed; they went to the conference finals. The Cavs last year, they went to the second round after being knocked out the first round previously. Cleveland showed progress, and yet they fired JB Bickerstaff, and they went and they got Kenny Atkinson, and now all of a sudden Evan Mobley is shooting threes, and the team looks different.
But this,
They've maximized their roster offensively.
but they got
So,
the same result.
but yeah, and look, it can go either way. It can work out for you, or it can't work out for you, or maybe it needs to manifest itself a little bit more than beyond just 1 year. So, we'll see what happens. But I think
shall
to
see.
say that this is and I'm not saying you said this, but I think there are doubters out there that think that this team's going to fall off of a cliff. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case. Like, I don't think this team is missing the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not going to miss the playoffs. They still have Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns on this roster. Like, OG Anunoby is still on the roster. Like, the important pieces of this team is still on the roster. The architect of this team since it's been good, Leon Rose, he's still pulling strings and making decisions. So I will give Leon Rose the benefit of the doubt in whatever direction he goes, because he's done a lot more good decisions than bad decisions since he's been here.
Okay. Say this.
Yep. You got anything else, or you good, man?
No, sir.
All right. That's what's up. Big shout out to everybody in our chat rooms. We appreciate y'all. Continue to follow us on the social media platforms, folks. Don't forget, we got the Facebook page. We're also on YouTube. Make sure y'all check out our YouTube channel. Also, we're on Twitch as well. Follow us on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. You can find Maestro Styles everywhere at Maestro Styles. Also, if you got questions or comments about the show, hit us up at barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. And, a couple more things before we head up on out of here. Just got to make sure we promote the merch out there. We got some classic t-shirts out there. We got all, different colors. We got black, white, we got gray. We got some navy blue on here as well. Make sure y'all check that out. Got some good stuff there. And also, we still got some of these new era snapback hats, still for sale as well. So scan the QR code and, let me know you want a hat. I'll make sure we get that set up and get one out to you guys. So if nothing else, man, look, love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. Got a dope one next week for you guys. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called